outputs of electricity. There are 4, if you like to call them turbines. 3 of those turbines, 66 megawatts, are operational. When we took over, about 3 of those turbines were down in a way that they were not in full operations. 3 with an output of 66 megawatts are operational currently. The first unit is on repair, and the repair work will be completed by May of next year. And when that is done, the full output of 88 megawatts of energy will be generated from the hydro. In terms of thermal generation, which basically takes place at the bushroad facility, there are a couple of HFO machines. Machine number 1, which is financed by the government of Liberia, has an output of 9 megawatts. That machine is currently ongoing maintenance, and the maintenance will take 16,000 hours to be completed. Then the second one, which is also 9 megawatts, is owner repair and review. And there's another one that is provided by MICAT, which is the Leads Development Agency. It is operational, but it will go through some maintenance in November. And then the final unit is the one provided by the World Bank. There are 3, unit 1 to 3. Repair works are going on with it, it's in progress. The 4th unit is paused because they are waiting safety clearance to put it into utilization. In terms of input of electricity, in addition to what I just explained to you about the hydro and the thermal, we have 2 importations of electricity into the country. One is through CR Energy from Cote d'Ivoire, and they're currently supplying the country with 50 megawatts of electricity. And the second is a company called EPA in Guinea. They are currently supplying 80 megawatts of electricity. So the total amount of energy being imported, in addition to what the grid is providing, is 50 and 30, which is 80. So if you're wondering as to the kind of stability you have experienced in your homes, in your businesses with electricity, these are some of the reasons why they are happening. The LEC management team has said that I should say confidently to the public that the scenario of the past, where you have stable electricity during the rains, and then you have serious challenge during the dry season, they say that period is over. And so the assurance they are giving is that even as we move into and during the dry season, the current stability you see in the provision of electricity to the population will remain just like that. There are other ongoing and planned projects by the Liberia Electricity Corporation. One of them is the 20 megawatt solar power generation capacity financed by the World Bank. 72% of civil work and panel installation have been completed. The scope of the project will fit into our electrical grid and is expected to be concluded and dedicated in November. The National Dispatch Center, which is a control place for which to sit, control and monitor everything. A new one was being built. That is around 70% of the civil works are being completed. Then the Mount Coffee Extension Project, the engineering design and tender preparations are ongoing. They also have the SP2 hardware development. Baseline and feasibility studies are being concluded, and the fund mobilization with the World Bank is being concluded as well. The CLSG rural electrification that covers Botota, River 6, and Nima are energized. 24,000 connections are made, with 3,936 streetlights targeted, all to be installed by December 2025. They've also taken an approach with independent power producers. What have they done? They had a number of companies that they were engaged with, but after their vetting, they dropped some and are proceeding with some. One of them is Arthur Energy Africa, and they intend to do a facility that will generate 190 megawatts of power, and they will use the St. John River as a source. They have an MOU, confirmatory studies are ongoing, and the IEC commercial framework is being developed. SGTPC project will provide 40 megawatts of electricity. They will use HFO machine. That HFO are heavy fuel oil engine. A PPP is already signed to that effect. CCEG that intends to have 150 megawatts of energy. 50 will be HFO, and 100 megawatt will be solar. So it's a hybrid arrangement. The negotiations are ongoing. TBR will provide 75 megawatts will be solar, and it's targeted for only country. The feasibility study is on the way. The Minister of Finance has requested the PRC is in progress. Energy America, they can provide up to 100 megawatts of electricity. It will be solar based. The technical and grid studies are in progress. Then the shuffling leads, which is meant to provide 23.5 gigawatts of electricity, and it should be solar. The lease assignment have been signed, and the solar energy facility will be constructed in the shuffling area and will be a source of energy grid. So that's progress on the energy and rural side. I have always said, when you have a society where in the name of politics, a segment of that society opposes anything that is progressive because they believe it will hurt them politically, it's a society that was probably to be developed. All over the world, politics is also involved. But a good politician will want the government of the day to succeed so that when they take over, they don't face the challenge of having difficulty to govern. So as you know, why am I bringing this up? As you know, the government of America has announced an extension of the visa viability of visa in the non-immigrant category for Liberian citizens. The category of visa being mentioned, B1 and B2, are not visas that are used by government officials. When Emmanuel Yarkpawolo wants to travel, you get one A visa or D visa or one of those countries. The visas we're talking about are B1, which is normally used by business people, And B2, which is the one each of you here, whenever you apply and want to get your visa, and why you use. Recent, visas are being issued to people in some cases for just 3 months. Single entry. What are being announced is something that used to happen way in the past, that before we fought war. You were not born. Where people were qualified to get a visa for up to 3 years. All of that became history. And the maximum period of B1, B2 visa that will come to our citizens for 1 year for the entry. The category of people getting that is also dropped. So they announced this. I guess if they have said the country has in place on visa restriction, which again will not affect a lot of the future when they put visa restriction or the public has to do something, they will get visa in the book. The people who are affected always will be ordinary people. So this pronouncement is about the country, yes, and mostly about the ordinary people, where many of you fall. So what has been the response for some people who on the other side? Some visa will eat, a visa will pay the road, all kinds of things. I saw one interesting post where the person said, we hope people have also negotiated with the embassy or with the American government, so the huge rate of denial can also be dropped. Even the 3-year visa we're talking about doesn't mean everybody who will walk to the embassy to get the visa. It's an opportunity to issue visa that got a longer validity period. Until recently, Nigeria, for example, they used to give ordinary visa, B1, B2 visa for over 5 years. It changed recently with the administration. So basically, the new administration in the US have been cutting down on these privileges. In our case, a single African country figured out and gave us this opportunity. A lot of people are angry and want to make it a little bad. It does not mean it. That we're now supposed to be dictating to America that anybody who comes to your office will give them a visa. The issuance of visa to individual is the prerogative of the issuing authority, the embassy. But more importantly, is at the mercy or determination of that visa counselor who is dealing with you on your case basis. So it's not a process that anybody can interfere with, because there are benchmarks they have for when to deny people visa. No government is supposed to be negotiating, they don't deny anybody visa. Anybody appear before you just get a visa. That's not why it is. Where we are is once you qualify to get a visa, there's a prospect, an opportunity, and window that you get a year visa, a 2-year visa, or up to 3-year visa. Which is good for trade, it's good for tourism. And I don't know why somebody's understanding will be that not important again for bread on the table. The businessman who is deeply involved with business in the US, sometimes some of them can even get denied visa. And they will have to keep going to the embassy back to back because of the short lifespan of the visa. It's happy when the passport who carries the visa that is for up to 3 years. It determines the number of basically trade he can make to the US. That puts food on his table. It puts bread on the table of those who are working with he in his business. Job creation is basically a primary responsibility of private institutions. Private institutions, if I may say. If you go to America, now all of us can be run into. When it's easy for people to find jobs, most of those jobs are provided by the private sector. The Nigerian private sector actors are struggling. Their businesses, if they are traveling, can help to employ people. And this singular action will help that prospect of the life of business to thrive. But because someone sitting somewhere believes that It serves a political interest. They're busy fighting back. Well, for those people, we got news for you. This recent action is the smallest of things we anticipate from America. In a few months to come, you will hear two huge and big additional interventions. It is not for us to say, so normally we knew this one was coming, we were told. It was not for us to say, so we're waiting for them to say, then we'll talk about it. There are two big ones that are coming. We'll not say until they come. But when they come, you see it, you feel it, you agree with anybody arguing with you that is big. What all this points to is that you have a government that knows what to do, doing what is required of them, and they've strengthened our bilateral relation with the United States of America at a time when that relationship is not the same for many countries around the world. It suggests that the president, who is the chief foreign policy architect of the country, is fully in charge, being aided by a capable Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And we should be proud of leadership at that level, particularly if you go back and realize that this same America, you realize that this same America just months back was basically sanctioning some of your key officials. And how you have now transitioned from these massive sanctions to the kind of attention that we are now having should be enough of a reason to say the governors of the day are doing a good job navigating a complex international terrain where many are fortunate. At least if we can do anything otherwise, we should not cause additional problems for you. So it means that officials of the government should carry themselves in such a way that we don't see more sanctions, or they don't conduct themselves in ways that will make the Americans to announce visa restriction, as they've done recently for a couple of countries, including some African countries, or other very stringent measures that will hurt the ordinary people. On the contrary, our engagement in seeing them proceeding the way they proceeded, and we're proud as a government to note this progress, and we can only assure that we continue to move in the direction to grow further the relationship. Don't forget that recently, the Foreign Minister and the Secretary of State, Madam Destro Nyati and Marco Rubio, met at the White House and have strong bilateral engagements. These actions that have been announced by the Americans in furtherance of some of the issues that were discussed at our White House today. Don't forget, I just mentioned how most of our people, public officials at the highest level, were being sanctioned. There's a lot of transition, maybe you're not paying attention. We have graduated from a nation whose officials were victims of sanction to a nation now that has been asked to lead a UN sanction committee. Less than 2 years. Marvelous achievement. When we opted to be on the UN Security Council, People came with the same cliche you hear in the UN Security Council seal with Igbo. They don't really know the implication of what it means to have those kinds of recognition. Today, many of these things you are saying are fruits of not just the way we govern here, but also our presence on the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member. So we have been nominated to serve as chair of the UN Sanction Committee, particularly on Sudan, and co-chair of the Sanction Committee on the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Yemen. And once the nominations are approved, Liberia will take on the crucial responsibility of consulting with relevant authorities and guiding the deliberation that will lead to sanction resolutions in accordance with international law and the UN protocols. This latest development underscores Liberia's growing influence and leadership on the global stage after its recent election as a member of the non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. You have enough information on it already. Again, there are people who are trying to give different meanings to it. The president is back in Paris on a state visit. I saw some readouts that I just laughed about. You are on social media, but most of what you're doing right now, you're using social media as a platform. You saw the ceremonies yourselves. Use your judgment to see whether somebody who is out on state visit can be received with guys of honor and all of that. So it's not something that was going to waste my time. The press secretary has done a great job in communicating that. But to just say that those who believe in otherwise, that brings them happiness, let them keep that belief. And also enough for me to say, but I get all you to follow. Since social media enables each of you to still follow what is happening in Paris, even though you were in Liberia. Keep following up and make a determination for yourself whether to listen to those who say it's not a state visit, it's something else, or whether it is what it is. Like the release said, the president will also move up to Dubai after Paris. Our own Daniel Sambo will join the president in Dubai to represent me in MICAT on that delegation. We returned from Senegal shortly when he's been also attending a meeting that I was invited to. And he was asked to make the representation on behalf and on behalf of the ministry. The World Bank office in Liberia has affirmed their unwavering support and commitment to Liberia's digital journey through its upcoming support on the new country partnership framework set to be launched in November of this year in collaboration with the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications. The World Bank support will cover key flagship areas that include great projects which will be aimed at strengthening governance, accountability, and cybersecurity. Then the LIFT project, boosting partnership, digital skills, and financial inclusion. And then the World Day SOC 2, which will be aimed at advancing regional digital integration and cross-border connectivity. The Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications expresses profound gratitude to the World Bank and all partners for the strategic collaboration in operationalizing the national digital strategy, launching critical frameworks, and fostering a secure, inclusive digital ecosystem. The Forestry Development Authority has announced plans to host Liberia's National Forest Forum 2025, a 3-day gathering intended to deepen partnerships, assess sector progress, and renewed commitment to sustainable forest management. The event scheduled for November 3rd to 5th will be held at the Ministerial Complex under the theme Leveraging Liberia's Forest for Economic, Social, and Environmental Sustainability. And we'll show the EPA once a year of environmental trade involved. According to the FGA, the forum will serve as a platform to highlight the authorities' accomplishments, their challenges, and lessons learned since the last Forest Forum here in 2023. The forum will bring together 150 delegates from both local and international institutions, including development partners, government agencies, and representatives of the forestry sector of neighboring countries. It will focus on strengthening coordination amongst key actors to ensure effective forest governance and sustainable management practices, reviewing progress and the legal reforms, and addressing new challenges and partnership. The Ministry of Youth and Sports have been able to restore flood rights to the summertime Blue Sports Complex after nearly 6 years. They have now graduated from the obsolete analog system to a 1200 lux digital illumination lighting, which is now 100% FIFA compliant. This means that night games for all FIFA and CAP World Cup and African Cup qualifying games are now possible in the night. As they promised during the last edition, the 2025 National County Meet, slated for this December, will now be played on the floodlights. The project was 100% financed by the government of Liberia. And the ministry is expressing its appreciation to the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning for facilitating this huge success through the national budget. Take note of the fact that this restoration comes after it was absent from the SKB in the last 6 years. So over the last 6 years, one of Africa's greatest soccer icon was president. Think about that. The ministry also says the 56th National Youth Day celebration was successfully held in Kano just yesterday. The highlight was the launch of the 2025 to 2029 National Youth Policy and Action Plan. And finally, as the acting minister said when he sought to invite me, we were invited by the government of the United Arab Emirates to Dubai to participate in the UAE Africa Tourism and Investment Summit. The summit brought together the following African countries: Angola, Botswana, Burkina Faso, Cabo Verde, Chad, Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, Guinea-Bissau, Kenya, Lesotho, Liberia, Mozambique, Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. What this conference sought to do is that the UAE government, and don't forget the UAE is a country that has thrived purely on account of tourism. It is a place in the world that generates income and resources immensely from tourism. even though the country is also blessed with oil and gas. But you see, oil and gas is something coming from out of the ground. Tourism cannot be depleted. The oil and gas can finish. The iron ore can finish, everything can finish. But when you advance in tourism, it's forever. That's why Dubai is as great as they are. They thought they could share that lesson with African countries. Because they have multiplicity of investors focused on the tourism sector. That they were able to bring together both from within Dubai and from outside the country. And they brought in selected African countries together so that they could brainstorm on how they can help these countries to advance their tourism sector. Mind you, Africa has 54 countries, but they selected these few that they take seriously because everything about the trip was undertaken by them. Flights, accommodation, everything shows the extent to which they sincerely are interested in wanting to help the countries that were listed. So some of the priorities that they focus on, tourism, as I said, tourism goes along with infrastructure investment. If you don't have infrastructures in place, no matter what you do about tourism, you're not going anywhere. So they realize that this is lacking. They want to help these countries to work together to find people who will help with investment and infrastructure. Of course, aviation and country connectivity can drive tourists. No tourists want to travel, having a lot of transit, limited airline opportunities. So aviation and connectivity was key because that's one of the ways you can drive tourists to come to where you are and to strengthen partnership, etc. There was a declaration called the Dubai Declaration that was issued. I think it was published by the ministry. I saw it online. And that declaration was simply committing to what we would do together with the government of the UAE in that regard. The delegate were treated with respect. The supreme leader of the country, King, met with the delegation, and we were glad because they told us that that's not something that happened easily. Even though our host was the Minister of the Economy and Tourism, but because they told us actually serious, they had to ask their leader to come and meet with the delegation. So that was it for what we talked about DT1 today. And about the day, since the time is fast running, I'd like to call on my friend and brother, Dr. Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo of the EPA, who will now update you. Yes, sir.
So that was the voice of Honorable Gerald PM, Ministers of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. This is Dr. Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo, Executive Director of the Environment Interpretation Agency. Keep following.
I'm glad I wanted the court to come here today. When we see the TV morning screen coming up. So it's great. It's very great. And thank you for all your informing our people. Everything that the government is doing is important. This is democracy. Everyone know what the government is doing. For us today, we want to talk about the UN Conference of the Parties that Liberia will participate in what we'll be doing. That's what we're doing. The EPA will doing a lot, but sometimes we take one specific issue and then we discuss it and so we can get away. What I'll do is I have a short first statement my team prepared. I'll read that. And then I will turn to the TV. Some of the things we've done so far, some of the things we're talking about. In the first statement, we'll be able to put it on the TV. The cameras can capture those as well. Members of the press, fellow Liberians, distinguished partners, ladies and gentlemen, climate change remains one of the greatest challenges confronting humanity. Since the dawn of the industrial era, the world has witnessed a steady rise in global temperatures due to greenhouse gas emissions from human activities. The consequences have been devastating. Sea level rise, intense floods, drought, biodiversity loss, and threats to food and water security. Liberia, like many least emitting nations, bears disproportionate share of these imports, despite contributing the least to the crisis. Our coastal communities are eroding. Our farmers are struggling with unpredictable weather patterns, and our ecosystems are under deep pressure, all coming from the impact of the global climate crisis. It is within this context that the world gathers annually under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or the UNFCCC, called the Conference of the Parties, which is a global platform where nations debate, negotiate, and agree on solutions to the climate emergency. From the Kyoto Protocol to the Paris Agreement, the COP, called the Conference of the Parties, has become the heartbeat of global climate diplomacy, driving commitments towards emission reduction, adaptation, and climate finance. This year, the world will convene in Berlin, Brazil, for COP30, a landmark conference taking place in the heart of the Amazon, often referred to as the lungs of the planet. The focus of this year's meeting is on forest and ocean-based solutions, just transitions, and climate finance, themes that deeply resonate with Liberia's own priorities. Liberia will participate in COP30 with a high-level delegation headed by the Honorable Minister Augustine Kafon, Minister of Finance and Development Planning, representing the government and people of Liberia. During the Leaders Summit, Liberia will highlight its nationally determined contribution, a renewed climate plan committing to reducing emissions by 64% by 2035, and to emphasize the diverse agenda for inclusive development, which links climate action to economic growth, job creation, and poverty reduction. Liberia will also host a national pavilion at COP30, a vibrant platform showcasing the nation's rich biodiversity, resilient ecosystems, and investment opportunities in the green and blue economy. As a country that contains 43% of West Africa forest cover and vast mangrove ecosystems, Liberia stands as the third lung of the world, absorbing millions of tons of carbon that help cool our planet. Through this pavilion, we will promote Liberia as the global climate solution country and the destination for green investment and sustainable partnerships. A key highlight of Liberia's participation at COP30 will be the presentation of the carbon market policy, now in its final stages of review. The policy establishes a national framework for carbon markets, defining eligibility for emission reduction and removal activities, community benefit sharing mechanism, and alignment with Article 6 of the Paris Agreement market mechanism. The pavilion will feature special section and materials introducing key policy, its scope, governance structure, and investment opportunities to engage in bilateral, multilateral, and private sector partners. In partnership with the United Nations Development Program and other collaborators such as UNCDF and private sector actors, the EPA has authored the first post-war natural capital atlas of Liberia, a groundbreaking publication that documents the nation's wealth from forests and rivers to biodiversity, hotspots, and mineral resources. This atlas demonstrates that Liberia's natural capital is not only its heritage, but a foundation for sustainable economic transformation. We will officially launch this atlas on November 10, 2025, with the official opening of COP30 in Belém, Brazil. To enhance policy access to information and coordination, the EPA has also developed a dedicated COP30 website, www.liberiaclimatenegotiations.online, serving as one-stop shop information hub on Liberia climate policy, dedication profile, pavilion event, and outcome from the conference. As part of Liberia preparation for COP30, the EPA will convene a preparatory meeting of the Liberia dedication on Friday, October 31st, 2025, from 2 to 5 p.m. at the state-of-the-art climate laboratory at the University of Liberia main campus. A high-level interministerial and legislative meeting will follow on Saturday, November 1, 2025, at the Farmington Hotel in MICAT County to align Liberia policy positions and ensure unified representation at COP30. At this year's COP, key global issues will include carbon market under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, fundraising for loss and damage, forest and ocean conservation, and just transition pathway for developing countries. For Liberia, these discussions are critical. They will determine how the nation access climate finance, implements its carbon policy, and restore coastal zones, mangrove, and create green jobs for our people. As we prepare for COP30, Liberia's message is clear. We are not just victims of climate change, we are custodians of the world's natural ones and partners in global climate solutions. Protecting Liberia's forests, wetland, and marine ecosystems is protecting the planet itself. We call on our development partners, investors, and the global community to join us in turning Liberia's natural capital into sustainable prosperity for all. On behalf of the government of Liberia, the EPA extends appreciation to all citizens and partners for their continued support in strengthening the country's environmental leadership. We'll now go up to the, if you can get to the PowerPoint presentation. And then I'll move on that side. I'll move on that side so that I will speak loud. You wait this up. You turn your back to the side. Yeah, I mean, because you're not looking at the TV is out. You need to be looking at the board. You should be looking at the board. When you turn your back to the board, how will you do? So I should be able to see it. So while he turned that on, I'm going to show you just how the presentation will look, but I'll also show you the atlas, to flick through the atlas and see what an atlas looks like, and then we'll go through the website so everyone can see it. So those who are watching can have the opportunity to see as well. Sorry guys, I think technology, I think we're getting there. Okay. Yeah, just let's show that one first. We'll get that one first. We can get that. So while you're figuring that out, like I said, each year, this year will be the 30th version. The work gathered together, called the Conference of the Parties. Presidents, environmental ministers, civil society, they gather to talk about climate change. Okay, I think we got it, my friend. So that's a sample of the Liberia Pavilion. It's going off again. It's coming on?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, now it's on. All right, great. So that's the pavilion that has our pavilion built with. Just like Liberian pavilion. The pavilion is where, it's like a building like that. You do pay for it, it's set up for you. You have different programs, right? Like somebody will be talking about our carbon market, our awareness agenda, everything we developed. So we are giving invitation to people around the world, and they will get a pavilion. Every day we'll have activities at the pavilion to be able to showcase Liberia. That's just another design of it. I think I think that's part of the office at the back end of it. Let's go ahead. We'll go through this Atlas through the website itself, but the Atlas is called the Natural Capitals of Liberia. Natural Capital Atlas of Liberia is basically a book, and Atlas is a book with a lot of tutorials. So flip through, let's go. So this is just the table of content in terms of what an Atlas looks like. Message from the president. You have other messages there, executive summary. So you go to chapter 1 that deal with the lives of Liberia, the Kenyan forest. Then you look at chapter 2, we look at the rivers, the wetland, the mangroves. You look at the coastline of chapter 3. Chapter 4 will deal with the wildlife of Liberia. Chapter 5 will look at some cartographic narrative of Liberia, 15 counties, where we take each of the counties and describe it. When somebody visits the county, what they have to see in there. That's chapter 5. And chapter 6 will deal with climate change and Liberia's role in climate change. And then chapter 7 look at investment opportunities in Liberia. Chapter 8 will look at pathway to the future, and then invitation to the world, investors, tourists, what they can do in terms of us working together. And chapter 9 look at local communities and indigenous knowledge, and the rest of it look at some math. We have that beautiful letter from the president. I think it's very good in terms of what the president is saying here in that one. My fellow Liberians and friends and partners across the globe, it is with deep pride and a profound sense of responsibility that I present to you the Natural Capital Allies of Liberia, a historic publication that celebrates our country's extraordinary natural wealth and reaffirm our commitment to protecting it for generations to come. So the rest of the letter is there. We can also read it, especially for those who read the land. It might be important to hear the content here. Liberia is home to one of the largest remaining portions of the upper Guinean forest, a living sanctuary for real indigenous species, and one of the most significant carbon sinks on the planet. Our forests cover nearly half of our land. Our rivers hold immense potential for clean energy, and our biodiversity is among the richest in Africa. These are not just merely ecological treasures. They represent the essence of our identity, resilience, and the hope for the future. The launch of the Allies is not only a scientific milestone, but also a bold declaration of national purpose. It embodies our pledge to protect and sustainably manage our natural endowment as a moral duty for humanity and as a cornerstone of Liberia's development strategy. Through the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, my administration is integrating environmental stewardship into every sector, from agriculture to infrastructure to education and tourism. Our updated nationally determined contribution, NDC 3.0, also reflects this vision by advancing climate action, renewable energy, and forest conservation as the key pillars of Liberia's path toward resilience and shared prosperity. However, this mission cannot be achieved alone. I call on the global community, including governments, international organizations, investors, and civil society, to stand with Liberia, support our efforts to preserve our forests, harness renewable energy, empower communities, and build a green economy that benefits all. Liberia's natural capital is not just a national resource, it is a global solution. When we protect Liberia's forests, we protect the planet we all share. Let this ally serve as a guiding light, reminding us that progress and preservation can coexist. As an African prophet wisely teaches, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. No? We borrow it from our children. May this spirit of unity and responsibility inspire us all to act together for Liberia, Africa, and for the planet we all call home. God bless Liberia. God bless our president. That's a beautiful letter from the president. We'll have some other thing there from UNDP, our other partners. There's a message there from me. We'll not read that one. The president one was the most important one to read. Go back to that slide where it came from. Okay, there's the COP30. The COP30 website. Go back up. There's a COP30 website where you can go and get all the information about the COP. Then we flip. Are you able now to go to the highlight itself in terms of how to get flip it online? And you can leave it for that. You can be able to get it. You have to redo it. The allies will be available. Hard copy will be printed today. We'll have some with the minister this Saturday. We'll have some hard copies at the EPA. We carry some at the COP, but it will also be available on the book. That's why I don't want to show the audience. Is that it? Okay. Okay. What I just saw is the COP trade, but make sure you get the allies. What are allies? Okay, so now you can flip. Yes. You can flip, you can go in. Okay, okay, so now you can flip it. Wait, there with that picture, but let's flip it. Okay, so now I think it's kind of slow internet connectivity. So it's okay, I think it's okay. So when I was showing the PowerPoint is good, because the internet, I wanted to flip so you can see some really beautiful pictures to see how wonderful your country is if it is captured this way and inspiring, and how we all have responsibility to protect it. It comes from page 1 all the way to page 136. It's a lot of pages, but I think we're having a little bit of trouble with internet connectivity there, so we're not going to flip it 555, but we'll begin available. So I think we'll leave it there. Return without a deal. But thank you very much. Thank you. So I think that's it for the office. In this case, we're doing a lot of work, but we're taking one by one. Today is mainly talking about the corporate reform we've done there and how we set it up to show that we're
That's it for the presentation by journalists. Questions and answers.
And let me start with the government. So today there have been a lot of protests around Liberia. Just from visiting the president with disability, they have been protesting all over weekends. Just give their petition to the legislature. And this morning, there's another protest by some contractors calling the government. What is the government doing? Because the government office here, things will not be the same. What is the government doing to curtail the issue of protests in Liberia? And to EPA, thank you for the cultivating, our investigation. But I want to look at a bit of reality. The issue of West Point, I've been reporting there for a while. The residents there are concerned about the coastal defense system. And under your administration, according to them, there has not been, effort in that direction so that they can have the coastal defense system. Lastly, you talk about environmental issue. All over Monrovia, for example, beyond, I'm just trying to highlight the places. Okay.
Please come.
So I just want to complete the question. No, I don't want.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Minister and fellow colleagues. I'm Larry STP, a Liberian journalist, former reporter of Bana FM, and now with Legend News Africa. My question goes to Minister Pia concerning the visa. Maybe it used to be 6 months. Now we have 3 years. That is a welcoming news. But some people are concerned that the gift that the U.S. government has given, or the increase in a year, is welcoming. But there's a give and take into the agreement. They are saying that they gave the 3 years because the U.S. government, the government of Liberia, have decided, or they enter into an agreement wherein they will be deporting some of their citizens who they consider as criminals or people who committed crimes. That's why they give the 3 years. So if that is true, how does government intend to address that? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Darius Kanga, and I report for OKF, and my question goes to Dr. Yarkpawolo. Liberia has been increasingly active in global climate discussion. Now, as Liberia prepares for COP30 in Brazil, what are the main barriers Liberia faces in accessing global climate funds, and how might Liberia address that? Speak to that question.
Next person, please come. Next person, please come.
Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Bestman, and I report for Inside Liberia.
Close the line.
Dr. Urey Yarkpawolo. When you're displaying the slide on the screen, showing all the atlas, and I was fortunate to capture one of the feature on your table of content, which talked about the local communities and indigenous knowledge. Now, there are many communities in Monrovia, in the environment of Monrovia, talking about protecting Liberia forests and wetlands and that of marine species. Prior to this COP30, traveling to different European countries, what particular message are you carrying to the people in the European world regarding local communities and indigenous knowledge of our wetlands and marine species after they have been misused? Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, straight to the point.
Yeah, so my name is Joseph Salif. I am a Liberian journalist. My first question goes to Minister Pia. Minister Pia, you announced at your birthday about the purchasing of a bus for the cultural troop and document in our possessions places that 69,000 have been allocated for that, the purchasing of that bus for the cultural troop. I want to know what's the current status of the purchasing of the bus for the cultural troop since you made the pronouncement. And to the head of the EPA, I just need update because we're at your office on the status of that oxygen situation we had along the Chipeni Freeway. You were party to that investigation, so I want to know what's the current update on the report from that investigation. Thank you.
Question. Straight to the point.
Good afternoon, my name is Faye Ebel. My name is Faye Ebel Lapulu from the Women for Sale newspaper. Faye Ebel Lapulu from the Women for Sale newspaper. So I have the question to the director, Dr. Yarkpawolo. We observe that library is growing for the COP30. So I want to know whether you are looking outside the box towards journalists that cover EPA. You think you can carry us one or two the COP30?
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Desmond Weah and I report for Democracy Watch newspaper. Thanks to our presenters. My question begins with the EPA bus. This COP30 is very important, and very soon you will be going to Belgium to represent the country. I said Berlin, rather, sorry, to represent the country. I'm a bit concerned about most of these conferences, international conferences, when our government officials go on the trips, they come back to the country, sometimes years in, years out, we yet to experience the practical dividends. So what are those practical dividends that you can better share with us upon your return from that conference? Liberians will be able to benefit. And to the government spokesperson, the U.S. visa fidelity period is so important. It's a great news, but I'm concerned about those who have already applied, especially those who are holding existing visas in their possession. With this new policy, take into consideration of those who are already holding visa possessions, and just a follow up to that, the issue about the past reports on Liberians over the years in terms of fake document presentations and that of overstays of Liberians in the diaspora in the United States precisely. How does the government intend to mitigate these kind of high risks in order to promote immense trust with our partner in the USA? Thank you.
Last question, straight to the point.
My name is Arina Ekwepogi and I report for Blaze FM. My question is directed to the government of Liberia. Does the visa extension, does it has anything to do with Abrego Gasio coming to Liberia? Does it has anything to do with him? My other question is directed to Mr. Yarkpawolo, Dr. Urey Yarkpawolo. Now that you'll be going to Brazil to attend COP30, what financial or technical support does Liberia hope to secure at COP30? Thank you.
My name is Joseph Sadi and I report for Lata FM and TV. My question goes to the minister. Many of the time you have traveled with the president, and on most occasions on some of these trips you have left behind to attend other functions. Can you give us a sense of appreciation, people from the diaspora, their own impression when it comes to the workings of the government? Can you give us their own impression? And B to that, the visa expansion. For me, I'm from Lofa, especially Zolo. How can my grandmother understand this issue of this visa expansion, and how can it really affect her and other youth that are there?
Good afternoon. My name is Joy Moore from Sky FM and the Liberia First Media Watch. My question goes, Liberia has a very large forest that is being damaged and it causing serious climate change. What will the EPA do at the COP30 that will make the world to support in protecting the forest, not just by talking about it, but by taking actions? Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's it for questions. This is response
Again, to
by
emphasize
Honorable
that
Yarkpawolo.
point of citizen address, the corporate education will not dive into more issues. Let's start with young introduction of what we do at the corporate. Not just for talking about. This is a very important question. Everything we say here is geared towards that. The global community, the earth or the planet, it has 3 lungs of the world. The lung in this case in our body is taking air. Without our lungs, we can't survive as people. The first one is the Amazon, the Brazilian Amazon, huge amount of forest. And our forest is capturing a lot of carbon dioxide from the air. The second one is the Congo Basin. In the Republic of Congo, the Congo Basin is the second largest forest remaining. The third is the Upper Guinean forest, and Liberia is leader within our forests. So those are 3 different categories of global forests. And so when you see that we're getting prepared to get a pavilion, to get an ally, to get a website, and most activities is to prove to the global community that we here, the Upper Guinean forest, is also part of what we're talking about. So it's called the company says it's going to look as the forest cup, and that's what we're doing to showcase ourselves and advocates on behalf of Liberia and those of us living in West Africa, taking care of the Upper Guinean forest. What we do is we do a lot of talking about it, but what we do also is action about it. You may have heard that our military successfully evicted people from the Sapo National Park. That is action-oriented. And I read in some of the papers, it was so successful, they didn't hurt anybody. Nobody got hurt or they used their own system to be able to get the illegal miners on the park. That's action-oriented. Part of it is, okay, now we have a forest. The forest is absorbing the carbon. What do we do? Under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, countries and businesses can trade carbon. Basically, those who emitting more, if they are given cap and trade, like it's called one of those is the EU emission trading system, where companies there can only emit this amount of greenhouse gas. If they are emitting, cannot be able to continue, can go above it. They can go somewhere and buy excess to be able to limit by their own criteria. That is the carbon market. And so you cannot benefit from this until you get the policy right and get it in place. And that's why now we are working on, we're hoping that by the end of November, early December, we'll come back and will be finalized in terms of national validation that will be able to enable us to open the market and so we can be able to benefit from that process. I think it's very important, and it comes down to that thing called the second to the last question of the family called sources of support. What can we obtain from the COP? Well, it's a global negotiation, and our voices have to be heard. Climate change is affecting everyone. We have been able to get some financial benefits. So it ties into the gentleman's question, which we can talk about, because it's part of the COP activities in terms of what is happening in West Point. And that project goes very far. The project started long time ago, but the Liberian government was not contributing any commitment to the project. The Liberian government should contribute in cash $2.5 million, and in kind about $4 million to contribute to the project. When we got there, previous administration, they hadn't spent anything. What they did with the project is that take the Liberian government money, put it up front, conduct the research, the ESIA, get the map, the geotechnical study, all the studies associated with building the refreshment, that real government do that first with your money. Then we'll put in for money. We'll put in our money. And that money is coming from the Green Climate Fund. One of the issues that will be discussed as to how the fund can be expanded. And so this administration, they're able to put in $1 million. So put in $500,000, 2024 budget year, put in $500,000, 2025 budget year. So that enables us now to be able to put in the system that's supposed to be a polling system. The studies completed, the design completed, the design had to go back to the Green Climate Fund for approval, they approve it. A lot of consultations going on with the people of West Point. People of West Point, a lot of them are away because we've been talking to them, giving them status of the project. The community center that's supposed to be built there, mobilization is ongoing. So because of that, we have been able to truck about a little over $2 million from the Green Climate Fund because we met the benchmark. That money is coming now that will enable us to actually start the construction. The West Point project is on course. We are talking about it because it's part of the COP activities. That funding came from earlier COP negotiations when we decided to put money aside. They say developed countries, you are responsible for climate change, so you need to contribute towards the developing countries because we feel the impact such as coastal erosion, and then we're not able to solve it on our own. So that one tangible benefit. Another tangible benefit is what we're doing also with the Sino County, the city of Greenville, the street of Mississippi, is being washed away literally. In fact, it's very dramatic. It's something I saw. It was very, very dramatic. By May 13th, when we were conducting the inventory of the country, I stood with the UNDP team to break the ground for that coastal reversion of a $10 million project. By September 3rd, the coconut tree we stood on to break the ground. When I went back there, it was gone by the sea erosion. So you can see, but that one cost $10 million. So that is part of the negotiation we get. Or another one we're developing with the climate information system to be able to get to predict weather in Liberia to be able to help our farmers. Another $10 million, the climate information system. Those are all coming from the negotiations. So do we get financial benefit? Yes, we do get financial benefit from the negotiation, the contact we made. But with the International Atomic Agency, in terms of what they're doing in the area of our lab. So we can actually get some tangibles there as well through the negotiation. So, one other question, message about local communities. It ties into that. We can't talk about Carrefour market without talking about local communities and indigenous people. In Liberia, we much more talking about local communities because somehow the term indigenous, if you want to define it, into different territories as to what you're talking about. So much more urban local communities that the language we use. We didn't get the time to go through all in terms of that, but it showcased their own interest as we have spoken to them and what they want us to highlight at top 30. So I think those are, in general, those are some of the questions that came apart from those, some of those that's not what we're talking about today. We'll take another time to be able to give a broader update of the EPA on some of those matters. We want to stick to the COP challenge today and give our people a lot of information about what happened with the COP and other matters you can always talk about it. You follow our Facebook pages, right? All the information are there. You follow our website. Constant press statement. We're issuing it all more non-stop like EPA. So most of the questions are answered already. I'll start being passing over to the Honorable Minister. Thank you.
We are gone into families, they decide what they want us to be. Some people go on into certain families, they don't send them to school. To be a lot of priority. They focus journalists will be opposing your school. Go there to explain to them what to do. You can't go for any film. Does that answer your question? I think it does, because the question will be answered the way the question you ask will answer it. Not the way you want it. The man who asked for boss, I think when the press conference going on, some people can be here informed, but the spirit in this somewhere. So they don't follow anything in the press conference as a result of getting the microphone. They're looking for all kinds of things from all over the world. No, I discuss boss here. But I have a question. Why are you making yourself a culture through boss? The ministry procuring 2 big buses for the rest of the employees, plus the one bus for the culture troop, etc. None of them have a ride. Do you see them bus here? So what's the specific interest of the culture troop bus? Now can't you see it? They were them.
Rented.
To that question, you ask him with tolerance, but I don't see the basis. If you are seeing what the other bosses coming in, the car you talk about, you put one bus for the culture troop, now see the other one, what happened to the culture troop? You can't grandstand it talking about document in my possession. What is it? There's no secrecy in procurement. First of all, there's a bid. When you publish the bid says the cost associated with what you're going to buy. When you come with a document of possession, and there's something was done in secrecy, what is that? Bokolo, the new president, came late, very late to the press conference. He didn't even follow my presentation, so he too went to go for a question. And they wanted to file a protest. Why would we do curtail protest? No, you can't curtail protest. As a media man, you're supposed to know that you cannot curtail peaceful protest, because it is an inherent right of the people to protest once it's done peacefully. It is the people you're talking about. I've heard them say they got some issues with their leadership. And they're calling the attention of authority to that, and so they've been doing so peacefully. What you should be concerned about is whether the things that people protest about can be addressed. And not about curtailing it. Because you can't curtail something that is the people's right. So to answer your question succinctly, no, we're not doing anything to curtail what is the right of people. But we listen to what they are protesting for and solve those problems if there are problems that can be solved. I think that's the impression. Sorry, the video was the one who already the question for me with MICAT and already, so I told him it was simply. Yes, no. If the company has a visa has an expert. So if they say the West of visa, they're talking about those who will be going for new visa. And you got a 1 year visa, it's 1 year visa. When it expires, it expires. It doesn't get extended because what they issue at that time was 1 year visa. And it does not also mean that everybody will go to the embassy for visa when you get 3 year visa. It's just a possibility now that depending on your case and what you put on, they can choose to give you up to 3 year visa, which was not part of the arrangement until now. So somebody can go there and get a 3 year visa. You will go there and get 1 year visa. Another person will get a 2 year visa. The less men have visa depends on what the visa says. So those who already got current visa, they gotta look in that visa and see what it says. If it is for 6 months, it's 6 months. If it is for 3 months and the same single entry, if you order that 3 months apart, now we end up with you with a so you're useless here. Even though the 3 months may not have the spot. So no, it has no bearing on whether visa someone currently carries. What's the impression of the people in the diaspora about the president? Who has that question? What are you trying to say?
Yeah, you many times have traveled with the president, and we just want to finish up the general interest of Liberians out there, and how they feel about the government.
Where we are radio station?
Sure.
Run a special show, announce the number, call people to call in the diaspora and then express their impression of what they think about the president. They are the right people to say. I don't really want to say what somebody's impression is. If somebody wanted to know what the impression of the journalist who cover MICAT or MICAT, and they say, I would say, I generally want to see what their impression is. Almost all the talk shows that I can see people calling from America, calling from Asia, calling from different places. So maybe if you do that and you call me, just say the other show I don't want to go, the impression of Liberia, that's what I call this number on WhatsApp. Just call and tell you what the impression is. I can say it so for them. Somebody said, and that was my former FTM reporter. Therefore, deporting their citizens who are criminal. You can deport your citizen. Probably hearing that. An American citizen is an American citizen. Not being deported anywhere. They commit crime in their country. They will pay for their crime consistent with the judicial process. It is the right, constitutional rights of American citizens to live in America. Is that you? Who can deport if you are Liberian and to where? So the foundation of the question itself is flawed. Therefore, it has no basis to say they're giving you the 10 years so they can be sending their citizen and who can be applying it. They can't send citizen here. So that can be a reason for the visa question. The country said if Garcia was interested in coming to Liberia, that would be willing to take it. Has he said that he's interested in coming here? It's just a willingness to say what we do. If the man say Liberia is an option of where you want to come, you come. The man could tell you that I don't go to Liberia. You know Liberia has agreed that will take me, I won't go there. And I think there are suggestions that are what he's saying to the lawyer. Already the lawyer says that's not an option for him. So if I was a journalist by the time I hear that kind of thing, that situation is moot. So people talk about it. Because he won't tell us of the other Guinea if he wants to. And the mayor says, I won't go to Guinea. And that case closed. Well, how is that an issue? And we gave visa issue for, actually the visa is just the smallest of some of the things we expect from the American. Two very big ones actually. And when they come, I know where one is. So before the thing has happened, you can have done it and get somewhere else. So the country's international image is being rendered properly. As a result, it has been able to attract the attention of not just other countries around the world, but the US. And in their dealings with us, year by year, month by month, you will see a manifestation of that sense of respectability of our country. You will see a reflection of that strengthening bilateral relationship. That's what you want to see. Don't be reading for it, don't be looking for me, why it's happening. pays no attention to the fact that all these things are happening with a new group of leaders and contractors. That's why you should let leaders fall. If you have a foundation who was doing business, and when they 1 year visa expires, probably get some more. And that person goes to the class to get 3 year visa. You know how many business trips that person can make before the visa expires? You know what will the impact on their business? And even though the possibility not that when you get 3 years visa, the cost of the visa will be the same. The same money you're paying, you get a 3-month visa, the 6-month visa, plus 1 year visa. The same amount of money you'll be paying. But just change about that. Except the fact that as other countries are facing visa restrictions, your country is having their own visa initiative expanded. It is a message. Those who are not understanding that message and running around that visa that we eat, that visa that we roll, keep it up. There are 2 big news to come. I don't know why the next question will be. Thank you for holding the fort. So continuously covering the press briefing, respecting your responsibility to have your appearance informed. Have a long message.
So that's it for today's press briefing here at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So today's MICAT press briefing was addressed by Dr. Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo and Honorable Jolomik Mafipia, Ministers of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So that's it. I would like to encourage you to join us next Tuesday for another edition of MICAT regular press briefing. Until then, my name is Masia Mekone. I've been here providing you this full coverage of MICAT Thursday press briefing. Bye from my end.